How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Are
Uh,
you
yeah.
excited for the new album?
I wasn't because it was delivered like last July, June, July. But now I am because I got back into the second wind of everything. And yeah, no, I am very excited, of course.
Was the delay on purpose? Was it planned? To have it in July delivered and then now in March
No,
released?
no, there was always a plan for it to be released at this time. Because obviously anywhere around Christmas is just a complete no-no unless you're doing the greatest hits of Bing Crosby. Um, so it was fine. It's just, and we went on tour. It's just having spent so long on the album, um, you kind of exhaust it, and then you need to take a step away from it. But no, fully behind it now.
Fully behind it. Well, uh, was there a period then when, July finished that you didn't listen to the album, and what was the first time that you actually listened to it again with fresh ears?
Uh, Probably on tour. Not until like November, October, probably November actually, in a hotel room, in Germany, I think. And I was like, yeah, it's not bad actually. It's all right. Obviously, I'd listened to stuff before that because we had to choose a single, and well, we knew what single because I'd pushed for the record company to release the Malignant Perfection single, "The Right
Yeah.
Side of Halloween," because it was the subject matter of the song, and I thought it best fitted the season. And obviously, then Christmas. New video comes out today, actually, for "To Live Deliciously." Should have come out 2 weeks ago, but um, the performance part of the video was being filmed in LA when the fires were happening.
Okay.
Therefore, they had to shut down the production for a few weeks. So, uh, yeah, it comes out today.
Okay. Um, well, the song that you just mentioned, there's a line in there. We wish to live deliciously in this garden of delights. And I think in the second song, Demagoguery, you also make a reference to a garden. Um, what is the garden of delight? Is that Earth that we are living in now, or is it something else?
Yes, well, I mean, it's obviously adapted from the garden. Well, the second reference is the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, the garden in which we live now.
And is it a good garden now?
I think it's pretty overrun by thistles at the present, and running, and being polluted by fossil fuels and setting oil fields on fire and stuff like that, bombing innocent civilians. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous garden, that's for sure, at the present. Um, and I guess that's where the meaning of the album, well, the album cut title was inspired by actual if world events, I suppose. They always lean on people, and if you're very receptive to that kind of thing as well, I couldn't help but let it permeate into what normally is just pure escapism, occult, etc., etc. And you can look at the album title as a very good heavy metal album title, "The Screaming of the Valkyries." Sounds very Nordic and yeah, brazen chested. Um, but mine is like a metaphor for a cataclysmic event. If you were to hear the screaming of the Valkyries, the actual Valkyrie, as they guard Asgard, as they were being overrun and Asgard was being destroyed, then it would be Ragnarok, which is the end of days, the biggest cataclysmic event. And you can liken that to viewing a tidal wave that's towering above you and going, fuck. This is it. Or I'm sure everybody's had dreams like that. Um, or if you suddenly saw you're walking down the street and boof, well, wouldn't hear it at first, but then you heard the sonic boom of a hydrogen bomb going off. You'd know also, fuck, that's the end. So it's kind of like that. And it was inspired by the fact that recently I read that we were, you know, mere seconds away from
Yeah.
midnight on the doomsday clock again. well, it's been creeping there ever since, well, since I made and did 2 minutes to midnight all those years ago. So
Oh, but
I've got to put a brave face on it. And the last song of the album, which has the album title in the lyrics,
yeah.
it's obviously ends the album on a despairing note, but it is full of hope because obviously they're just the lyrics, and in real life, the cataclysm hasn't actually occurred. So yeah.
Now, there's a line that you're saying that I wrote down here. That is golden age of wonder is undone before the thunder of another tyrant smitten with his gains. I think that's a pretty a comment on the current world state affairs, right?
Yeah, everybody trying to their stake for territory in some weird imperialistic, will be dystopian future. I mean, what is the point? It's such a um, well, I get the point. I know but in a society where borders don't really borders don't count to the majority of people, but they're very important at the moment to the Americans. So anyway, I try not to let uh, anything like this, politics, what have you, filter into what we do. I try and avoid it.
Yeah, but I think like you were saying earlier that well normally it's more about escapism, but I think in this album there's also some more of well maybe reflection on what is happening right now. Can I
A
say?
little bit, yeah. Like I said, you can't help but allow that to permeate into your work, no matter how deep and escapist that may be.
Yeah. Uh, do you worry?
I try not to. I did read a book last year by Anne Jacobson called Nuclear War: A Scenario, in which she interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people involved with the nuclear stockpiling and nuclear firing and nuclear testing, and everybody from bunkers who are still like Cold War bunkers, people in the top brass in the military from all each side of the world, and just put together this synopsis. And it's terrifying. It's like 140 hours, I think, and the world's gone
Yeah.
for something like 100 to like hundreds of years before it's even close to inhabitable again. Yeah, habitable again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of terrifying.
But do those thoughts, what does it do for you with your occupation? I mean, being an artist, writing songs, making music. Uh,
Pandemic, you just have to really get on with things and appreciate what you have. I think that's certainly what the pandemic eventually did. It pressed a reset button for a lot of people, whether it's people going, you know what, I'm going to totally change my life now, or I'm going to not do music anymore. I'm going to stay at home and work from home, because I did some of this during the pandemic, got paid loads of money for it, and I've got a family, etc., etc. Or other people are like, you know what, I was really losing my faith in being in the band before this, but now that I realize, just how much I missed it during the pandemic when we couldn't do anything, I've gone all out again. And we belong to the latter camp. We actually enjoyed the pandemic for the first year because we were recording our album then, and the drums had already been done. So during lockdown, I was able to get with the producer locally and work on the record. It was great. Second year was shit, admittedly. And then we fought tooth and nail to get to America during the lockdown, and had loads of weird lockdown protocols in place before each show. So that was bizarre as well. But yeah, I think you just take it each day as it comes. I mean, you never know when anything's going to happen, do you? And we do fly around the world continuously. Um, so yeah.
yeah. Well, this is your first album within, I think, the last 10 years without Richard, recording wise. Did it change the songwriting? Did it change the way you approach the album?
Um, Maybe a tiny little bit, because we had to get the two new people up to speed, which was Zoe and Donny, and they came about being in the band. It's because when Richard left to pursue a family life, and other keyboardists sort of took that as who hadn't really settled in with the band over the course of the little time she'd been in it, took that as a sort of door to exit from as well. We were in the process of about to special guest to Danzig in the States, and we didn't have time to get other visas for other people, so we had to find some Americans. And originally I didn't realize quite how much work had gone into finding the right people for the job. It extended far further down than just the ability to play. They were really a very good fit. And so at the end of that Danzig tour, and then we carried on and did some headline shows as well, we were like, welcome to the band. And things obviously got very good in the band relationship wise since then, because Zoe is now married Ashok at the beginning of the year in Arizona. And yeah, we've written this album. And you ask if it changed a little bit. I'd say only in the fact that obviously people had to be integrated into what we were doing, and we were being really prolific in the fact that we were touring a lot, and probably why there was a bit of a delay with this record, 4 years as opposed to the usual 2.5. But then we did do Trouble on Their Double Lives as well with 2 new tracks, so we can be excused somewhat. But yeah, doing lots of shows. So the thing I would say would have changed was that we were writing quite a bit on the road, like not diligently, but on the odd off day where we'd be in the middle of nowhere, you know, Boise, Idaho or something, where there's just a Walmart, you know, across the motorway, and that's it. Then we would get together, set up the recording equipment, and jam some ideas. So I'd say we did more of that.
Okay. Well, you've been the principal member since the early 90s. What keeps you going then with all the member changes, and is it something that's good? It brings new blood, or is it also annoying?
Well, I've always said that being in a band, being a touring musician, that suddenly you live dog years. So every year is like 7 years because it just seems to go on forever. So the fact that they've been in the band 3 years does seem like I've known them, you know, as long as I've lived, because we get up to so much together. You know, I often joke that I sleep next to Dani more than I do my girlfriend, because, you know, we're always on a bus together or on a fucking plane together, or, you know, next door in a hotel together. It's kind of weird if you think about it. But yeah, I mean, it is annoying, but it is, again, it is what it is. You just have to keep rolling with the punches, as Rocky says. And they're great people. We've got a great lineup at the moment. We've got great people around us, full stop. From management through to the people on the periphery, you know, like our lawyer, our accountant, our, you know, merch company guys. They're all really solid people, and it feels like family. So yeah, I'm very pleased that both Dani and Zoe have integrated, and, you know, Zoe a bit more than others. Yeah, it's all good. And what keeps us going? The huge bucket loads of money. The 2 yachts parked in the Bahamas.
And a nice couch you're on.
The enormous castle, the supercars. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is it for you? Is it
huge amounts of money I get paid from Spotify every month?
Yeah. Well, what is it? What is the amount?
I was being sarcastic, man.
Okay. No, but I think is it something? Is it your your purpose in life? This band and being Dani Filth? Is it something you say? Well, I haven't. I did you ever thought about maybe? Well, this is it, and now I'm going to pursue something else. Maybe some other music or some other maybe going solo or something. What is?
Well, I mean, I had some other projects in the work. I did 2 albums with my band Devilment.
Yeah.
I'm still working with Rob Caggiano on Temple of the Black Moon, as and when. I mean, it's like my poetry book. I was planning to release it each year, and then each year I steal bits from it or go, and that's not good enough. Or recently I fucking lost a load in the my app, my Mac upgrade just lost a file, and I had tech people, you know, like people who write code and stuff. Sorry, excuse me one sec.
Yeah.
No, fine. Come down to try and retrieve it, nothing. So oh, we do have some. Yeah, this, I do think Cradle's my outlet. And I was saying that the pandemic, I suppose, made people fully realize just who they are and their mission in life. And yeah, we've been doing it for 30 years. So I say that's a good stab at something. I mean, I've never had a proper job, loads of part-time jobs, but not a proper career path other than Cradle. So I'd say, you know, I've always gone, oh, we're a professional band. Oh, I don't know. But I'd say I think we deserve it after 30 years.
Yeah. But especially with, well, with the constant output, I think this is your 14th album, right? So I think, yeah, it is your proper day job. I have a question about the song "You Are My Nautilus." It seems like some sort of, well, maybe in a strange way, maybe some sort of love song. I mean, who is your Nautilus? Who is it? Who is she or her or?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of other people. I mean, I'd like to say who it was. I mean, I said fair, pretty much mostly my life partner, Sophia. I'm just a big fan of Victoriana and a bit of steam, not massively in steampunk, but I like the ideology behind it. I love Jules Verne. And I like the ideology of the Nautilus has been as a metaphor for someone you can rely on, a strong backbone, so you know, a voyager, an explorer, someone you share time with in dark waters. And the Nautilus was this amazing machine that was even considered to be, you know, like a mythical beast because it was so far advanced. And yeah, it's just a strong metaphor, I think, for a very dependable, strong, much loved individual that you traverse, you know, the world with on your journey.
Is it a personal song?
Pardon?
Is it a personal song for you? I think it is, right?
I think everything you write has a certain degree of personality about it. Yeah.
No, but I mean, maybe more personal than maybe other songs. I don't know. Maybe it's.
I don't know. They're pretty. I think. Well, maybe a little bit. On Non Omnis Moria is a very balladic song.
Yeah.
I'd say swathed in melancholic pathos, and yeah, that's a similar kind of personal song, but not really for anybody I know as such. But it's about, you know, the scenario is between two people. One person's on their deathbed, and the other person, they're saying to the other person they're not gonna, you know, even though they're dying and they won't see them, they'll see them in the afterlife. They have a bond stronger than death, and that a part of them won't never die. There'll always be a part of them living on in that person, in nature, in life, in all the little things that they shared together.
Yeah. Well, it's another song, Ex Sanguine Draculae. What does, well, the myth of Dracula stand for you?
Well, it's I suppose, a figurehead of everything I really like about literature, art, music, the Gothic aesthetic, yeah, cinema. It's like a figurehead, definitely, or a scarecrow to scare other people away. But the title, I actually have it tattooed here somewhere. Oh, where is it? Across here.
Oh, yeah.
Means of the blood of Dracula. So again, it's like a family thing, a blood tie, to something dark and ominous, but familiar, and in a strange way, inspirational.
In what way? Because of the occult, the things that.
Everything about it. I mean, what's not to like about Dracula is three beautiful brides gets he lives in a massive castle. He can afford to travel around the world. He's got selective appetites. He dresses nicely. Do you know what I mean? He's got the
Yeah,
gothic
yeah.
aesthetic to the T. Everybody's writing songs about him and books. He seems to be doing all right, I think. I kind of like the guy.
Have you been to Romania?
I have indeed, yeah.
Yeah, and what's it like? Does it live up to the expectations?
I haven't done what I was planning to do yet, which is a proper underground tour. I don't want to see. I mean, I love the touristy stuff as well. Great, but I also want to see the sort of raw backbone of it and do a bit more of a exploring as such. I mean, if you consider the difference between some of his preserved castles and like Elizabeth Bathory's, which is near a ruin, um, I'd rather do that. I'd rather do something a little bit more solo. And there was actually the opportunity, or the opportunity was being discussed, certainly during the lockdown, about Cradle performing at one of those castles, and
Okay.
we pursued it, and it may still be being pursued. In fact, we weren't just looking at those castles; we were looking at other ones that were affiliated with um, certain members of the Habsburg families and the Dracula families, and etc., and the Nasdadis and what have you. There's quite a few castles around the around Czechia as well.
Yeah.
Strange having two Czech people in a band.
But is it still in the works then, or is it?
It's still, yeah, it's debatable. Yeah,
Okay? Well, sounds good if it happens.
amazing.
Yeah, and well, what are your plans now? What are you are well the video that is going to be released today.
And another video which will come out for the song White Hellebore.
Yeah.
Uh, that will come out, I guess, around the release of the album, which is the due date is the 21st of March. Then we go to co-headline with Dying Fetus, a touring package in the States called the Chaos and Carnage Fest. Takes us to mid-May. And then we go out and do a load of shows around the summer festivals with Nervosa in support. Hopefully South America. And then we've got something pending. We either go back into the studio. Well, I won't go that far. We've got enough. We've got enough for now.
Okay. So some new material already in the works.
Absolutely.
Well, what do you if you for you 14 albums? How do you if you compare this album to the other albums? What is the biggest difference, or maybe the biggest reference to other works, other albums?
I wouldn't say it was a bigger difference. I mean, it is a Cradle of Filth record. We're not doing Dutch techno or anything. I'd say the production has been improving. I mean, it's an amazing production. Very clear. There's different techniques we use on the record, different keyboard samples, and it's just different. I mean, 9 different songs for a start. Yes, there are some parts that I would say I've always maintained they have the atmosphere of previous works, but I don't think as a band you can't self-cannibalize yourself or revisit, because if you're a band that's got a strong identity and you've forged that identity, then you're quite welcome to revisit it because it's your sound.
Mm-hmm.
And there are bands that I like that I just, please don't stray too far from the path on the next record, please, because I just love them the way they are. So, I mean, it's quite a vast horizon we've got to play with if you discount the reggae section or the, like I say, dub, tech war stuff. So yeah, it's different, but it's familiar.
Right.
It's hard to explain and hard to describe our album. When somebody says describe the album in detail, and it's like two letters. No, I can't. I'm sorry. It's about perspective. Go and listen to it, and then make your own mind up from it. There's 2 singles already out. There'll be a third, and that'll be a good cross section of what to expect.
The last question. I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true, but is the collaboration with Ed Sheeran, is it still
Still hasn't been released. No, it's ready to go. It will come out. I just can't really talk about it at the moment. No, it's we didn't want to overshadow this record, and he doesn't want to overshadow his record that he's working on. So uh, it will find a light today, more than likely next year. But it's not going. It's not going anywhere. I don't think anything quite like it's going to come out. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know, unless Immortal are going to start working with Megan Thee Stallion or something. No, I'd pay to see that. Fuck, be awesome.
what did you do on this track? Did you write the lyrics, or what is your?
I wrote the lyrics for it. Yes.
Okay, and do you both sing or do
Yep, we
vocals?
both sing. He plays his guitar, his acoustic guitar as well. There's a blast beat on it. It's got a strong chorus. I say Ed pushes his voice a lot, a lot.
What was it like for you to hear that he actually listened to you and Slipknot when he was younger?
Well, he told us the story that he was due to come and because he's a big fan of Nymphetamine. He was going to come and work on our album as a studio engineer, as way of one of these college work experiences. But the producer at the studio had misinformed him. I mean, we were just rehearsing for an album there that we were recording somewhere else. So when he found out, he decided not to come, and subsequently got moved to work at the council, which he hated, and then swore blind that he would pursue music. And I was like, in an alternative universe, he could have come and worked on our album, gone, fuck this, I'm having nothing to do with music again, and gone to work at the council.
Well, you will never know. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks ever so much. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was told not to release this interview prior to March 14th, so I will do that. And well, we have talked to you, with you on several albums, so it was nice to talk to you again. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Take care.